My preference would always be a corporate trustee. So we have two options within a self-managed superannuation fund. We can have individual trustees where the members of the fund act as trustees in their individual sort of sense, or what we can do is set up a company, and that company acts as trustee for the fund, and the members of the fund become directors of that company. So they still retain control, but we have a company sitting over the top. And what that provides us with is a limited liability in relation to those fund assets and the assets of the individuals involved with the fund itself. So what I would do if I wanted a self-managed superannuation fund is go and set up a specialist company whose sole role is just to operate as trustee of that fund. And we keep that separate from any other business companies that we have or that kind of thing, any other trust companies. And all that company does is act as trustee. It doesn't hold any particular assets in its own name. That provides us with a few advantages. Like I mentioned, we have the limited liability associated with having a company if anything goes wrong. And so the individual's personal assets aren't put at risk if something goes wrong with the superannuation fund. But in addition, we have some real ease of administration. When we purchase assets in a self-managed superannuation fund, or any super fund for that matter, obviously they have to have an owner. Now, if we can make that owner a company, then it doesn't matter what the membership is underneath in that fund. The fund members can change, but the title of those assets will always remain the same. That'll be the name of the company. XYZ Proprietary Limited owns all of these assets as trustee for the fund. Makes it really easy as people leave, as people join, people might retire, people become incapacitated. So if something does happen like that with a fund trustee, we don't have to go and find all of the assets and change the legal title to all of the assets. That can be a really time-consuming job and an expensive job in some cases, and can really be quite debilitating if someone in the fund has died and they've got legal title on some of the assets and we want to deal with those assets. So having that corporate entity, that company involved, really provides ease of administration and flexibility in terms of how we run the fund. There are a couple of benefits of individual trustees that people talk about. I guess people perceive it as easier because they don't need to register a company. But in actual fact, a company that you use as trustee of your fund, because it's such a simple company, it has very reduced administration costs associated with its registration, and its ongoing fees are very small. So the perception that it's more difficult is probably a fallacy, and it actually provides a much greater safety net and ease of administration.